Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our BKFC Reddit Ask Me Anything Ice Wars edition. We're joined by Corey, the Alley Train Allen. How you doing, sir?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm great. You're a guy that I wanted to get on the show for the Edmonton card. It didn't work out, but I knew I had to get you when I heard that you guys are going to be like the feature fight of this upcoming thing. I was like, I got to get the Alley Train on the show.
Well, thanks. I'm pumped to be on. I'm sorry I couldn't make it work earlier. Schedules just weren't aligning for that one. So, but yeah, glad to be here. Glad to talk, and appreciate what you're doing.
I love a good hockey fight. Do you, have you always been a hockey fighter? Were you a skill guy? Like what's your story?
When I was younger, I was a little bit more talented, but when I say younger, I mean younger. I made my first junior team when I was 16, and kind of realized at that point that if I wanted to stick around, it was going to have to be more of a physical side of the game. And yeah, it just kind of got in one fight. I actually wasn't even a great fighter in junior. It was more later in my career where when you weren't dealing with getting a cage off and you had visors and or no visors, that's where I really shone because I could get a few punches in and set the tone early. But
That's a great ringtone. Is it one of those things where the more fights you're in, the better you are, or is it like if you're naturally gifted at throwing those hands?
um, I think it just kind of. I had an older brother. He's a year older, and it just him and his buddies would just actually started beating me up for the fun of things until I started winning. So it was just it kind of became natural. You get bullied by the older siblings, and then you learn to throw. I remember coming home one time up. We had like a quarter-mile driveway, and I remember getting to the top of the driveway and having a conversation with my dad. And he's like, "Well, if you want to beat your brother, you better start learning how to throw lefts or something." And basically, I kind of worked at that, and it just kind of flowed naturally on the ice as well, being able to go right to left, switching up on guys, and yeah, it just kind of took off from there. It wasn't really that I wanted to be a fighter, but I was even a bigger. I was tiny as a kid, but tall, lanky, but
Sure.
I was fast. So my speed all of a sudden just it all kind of came together, quick throwing, and could go from left to right. And then, once I got a couple fights on the schoolyard type deal, once you beat up one guy, it seemed like the grade 12s wanted to fight you. So usually I was a grade 9 fighting the grade 12s type deal. And then in hockey, it just flowed in my role and character. And here we are today.
When you were fighting in high school, were you throwing those Superman punches then too, or is that something that came later?
No. That's not it's not even a big thing. I wouldn't rely on that much in a real fight. So
I do like that you're kind of showy, you're kind of flashy, you're a bit of a showman. Like, yes, it's a fight, but but also, I mean, you kind of make it fun too. You know what I mean? You make it fun to root for you because you never know what you're gonna do, and it's not like just you go out there and you tuck your chin and throw a bunch of punches.
no, I've tried to be. I mean, over the years, I've got over. I mean, my elite prospects isn't actually correct because it doesn't have my junior fighting on there. I'm upwards around of 1,800 minutes, and they're all fighting majors actually for the most part. So it's a lot of technical. I actually would prefer to be a technical fighter out there. The synthetic's hard, but once we get to real ice here and the bare knuckle side of it, the gloves are actually coming off. It'll be a different story there too. So on ice, I can hook left to right with my glide. I can turn my skates basically into two dollies and kind of like a Derek Langdon style of fighter.
Are you one of those guys? Do you believe that the real ice is going to kind of expose those people who aren't necessarily on the level of you real ice guys?
I 100% believe that the real ice will rob the guys. That synthetic, it's different. If you see some of the guys out there, you can tell the hockey guys on it, how they glide, how they move better. They're more smooth, transitional. I find once you get on that ice, it's not as forgiving. You can catch yourself on that, but once you start slipping on ice, you're slipping. So it'll be a big adjustment for those guys that are trying the crossover. And you know what? Some guys might surprise you, and some guys they might not. They might be bad.
So we hear that BKFC Ice Wars is going to be losing the gloves. Are you one of those guys that's excited to drop the gloves? Like me personally, I love the bare knuckle. I think it's great. The one thing that kind of worries me is you guys are wearing the helmets. you know what I mean, and bouncing knuckles off of helmets. I know you guys do that in fights, but you also don't do 3 minute, 3 rounds and a little bit of a break. So like, are you excited about it? A little nervous? Like, what's your thoughts on it?
I came from a league similar to LNAH. We were an outlaw league here in Ontario, Canada. We had 2 fights a night, and some of those fights were like marathons. So for me, it's made no difference. Like, I've going from juniors, I've punched cages, I've punched visors, I've punched helmets. I think it's going to separate the actual guys that are capable and have done it and the guys that aren't capable and haven't done it. So, I mean, if you've played some pro hockey, you've spent a weekend fighting, you have 6 fights at a weekend if the cards are in the right if the cards align some nights. Like when I got called back up to play for Delaware, we had it was a 3-game road weekend, and I fought twice a night all weekend. So, and finished my last fight was Amesbury and Danbury the one weekend stretch. So I think the guys that have done it are going to be just fine at it. The guys that haven't done it, yeah, you're going to want to make sure your punches are on, or you might end up out with a hand injury quicker than you expect.
We see a bunch of the bare knuckle, again, watching the bare knuckle BKFC. We see those guys conditioning their hands. Some of them are punching like still and, in the rice. Is there anything you do to condition your hands, or just you've done so many fights over the hockey career that they're just naturally tough?
I just think it's naturally, like, I've had so many fights that I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I've had off ice fights too, or might have hit a wall or two behind a guy. So I don't know. It's I think some guys are used to it and they'll be fine with it, and it's just a normal thing. Like, I've had a Friday night sprain my thumb or a finger and have to pop it back in and do whatever for the next fight the next day. So yeah.
You're a guy who's had quite a few fights in your career. What's the worst injury you've sustained in your hockey career?
Knock on wood, I haven't sustained any major injuries. I got a slight tear in my knee a couple seasons. Been, knock on wood, pretty lucky. Maybe a broken nose from an elbow or a punch here and there, but nothing too major.
Were you the one that asked to fight the Chief? Did they kind of give you that fight? I mean, like, this is the clash of the heavyweights. Like, this is the fight I think everybody wanted to see in the heavyweight division, and it's happening so soon already. But like, is it? I feel like it's one of those, like, we're glad that we see it already, but it would have been kind of neat to see it like built up a little more. But like, you versus Catlin is just a monster fight.
Yeah, I think I didn't ask for it. Like, it's end of the day, I'm not asking for fights. I don't care who my opponent is. I'll fight whoever they put in front of me. It goes back to the hockey days. I mean, I'll use John Morasti as a prime example. End of the day, if I was going into the arena and he was on the other side, that's the guy you're going to fight that night if you're in that role. So to me, I didn't ask for the fight. I just said, whoever you get, I'll fight, and let's go from there. Like, it could have been Zach Hughes, it could have been a Laporte, it could have been Andre, it could have been any guy, right? And that's where I'm at with it. If you want to be the best, you got to fight the best, and respect to all those guys. Like, I'm actually going to say I'm probably a pretty humble guy when it comes to it. It's just another weekend for me. So
are you friends with those? I mean, you just listed off some of the big names in BKFC Ice Wars. Are you friends with those guys, or one of those things like you try to kind of keep your distance, you're cordial with them, but you also know you're going to end up fighting these guys, so you don't want to be too friendly?
It's, like, we've all communicated along the way and high-fived each other along the way. Like, we're all trying to be part of a brand that gets built up. So I think it's a mutual respect to go out of the way and say we're friends. I wouldn't say we're friends, but there's a respect amongst fighters, amongst players, and that falls back to the hockey side. Those guys that have actually come from a hockey change room and actually been a part of a team. I mean, you could be fighting your buddy next weekend and then you're playing with them the following weekend on a trade. So sure. I think it's just a mutual respect thing that goes across through, I guess, this organization as it would in a hockey league. So again, if I had to play with Catlin on a team, that would be amazing. Play against him is just another night. Let's go.
You've never fought Catlin in hockey, like, you guys have never fought before, correct?
No, we were in the Cheyenne tournament and we didn't line up with it. I ended up getting a bye in the tournament and then So I fought Divine in the semis, and he fought Andre in the semis on his side, I believe.
What's it like being kind of like, I mean, you've been in what, this is going to be your fifth one, I believe. You're kind of like the go-to guy. Like they know they can count on you. I think it's great because there's a lot of guys, and I know at the Edmonton one, you had some guys that, showed up off weight and, chose not to fight, but you're a guy that they can count on no matter what. You'll fight anybody. Like you, like I said, you're going to be a great face for the company. I feel like going forward, and people are going to love you because, like I said, you show up, you're on weight, and you'll fight anybody.
Yeah, I appreciate those comments, actually, so thank you. Yeah, I mean, I got a good relationship with Charlie, and I got a good relationship with Morasti as well, who's now doing the fight pairing, I believe. And even Kevin, getting to know him the first couple fights there, because I didn't fight in Michigan, but I was there, so I got introduced to the guys, so they knew who I was. And I think there's a little bit of, like, again, we're saying Ice Wars has now started since the BKFC, but there's a little bit of background there. So some guys I've kind of talked to about the synthetic, like I broke that synthetic down. Even like I changed my hollow. Guys are running sharp hollows. I ran a different hollow, so I had more glide on it, and it's just experimenting. I own that can ice at home too, so we have it set up at Aaron Downey's, who's former NHL Stanley Cup champion. That's what I train with. So I think coming back to that, like, luckily, yeah, I've developed a great relationship with Charlie, which kind of kept me in the mix. Like I feel pretty fortunate to be one of the older guys and be relied upon. And some of those guys didn't want to take a second fight in Edmonton, and I said, you know what, I'm in. So whatever, here we go.
I think it was great that you agreed to take the second fight because, I mean, like some of the guys were kind of like, I talked to some of the guys at the weigh-ins and they're like, my guy didn't show up, or my guy, he's overweight, and it was I mean, it could have potentially derailed the show, but you and, the Viking were able to take a couple second fights and help that show go on. And I think it's a great thing for you. And I feel like that's another reason why you're able to get this feature fight coming up, and they knew they could count on you.
Yeah. No, 100%. So.
Okay, rank your top three. If you follow you on Instagram, you're all about hockey, golf, and sauna. It seems like that's all I see you post pictures of. Like, what is your favorite of the three?
Definitely hockey. Definitely hockey. The training, like I look back on my career, I just was always kind of naturally in great shape. Like I wish I had been more of a gym rat when I was younger, because I think that's actually what I lacked. I mean, I made it to the Central Hockey League, which is now the ECHL. I had to try out in Texas with the Brahmas back in, I think it was like 2007. Had a great camp, but I didn't put in the effort that needs to be put in the game every day now. And then it needs to be put in for BKFC Ice Wars here. So it's actually rejuvenated me in that sense. So like in the order, it's always going to be hockey first, and then the training comes in after, and then family's in there. Family's probably in the top, but
no, absolutely. No, it's just like I said, I love the sauna. Like I love watching all the cool stuff that you do in the sauna. You do a lot of working out. You do some very sexy working out in the sauna, but when did you start doing the sauna? Like I said, I love it. It's one thing that I try to do almost every day for like 45 minutes to an hour. Like, is it how crucial is that to your training routine?
Yeah, like for me, it's been since I started training with back with Aaron again. It's just different techniques that him and Chelios have their own studio that they're launching right now. They've got this great sauna out, and can I give a shout out on that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so like if you go on my link and you go to Aaron Downey Training Methods, him and Chris Chelios have Chris Chelios 24/7 Heat Studio with Aaron Downey and teammate Aaron Downey, sorry. But it's out there, and they've got this great sauna that they're trying to push out to a bunch of pro athletes and everything right now. And they've been doing videos, releasing videos of why they've done the sauna over the years and what it helped them do. Like Chelios will talk about the fact that when he was playing, they didn't have the condenser units in the arena that they have now. So you go into a playoff game and your body's trying to cool itself off. And the benefits of the sauna is it's that thermogenic heating. So your body's learning to cool itself when it's already hot, or vice versa, get hot when it's cold. So
sure.
It's a big key piece. Like every workout we do. So right now I'm working out with 3 pros, and Aaron leads it. Everything we do, we start with the sauna to get warmed up, get activated, and then we go to the cold tub, and then we go do our rollout or dynamic warm up, and then into our workout, which is we usually do a 2-hour workout Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so 3 days a week. And it's a key piece for recovery too. So I'll always finish with a sauna, and I do a cold. They say, there's arguments to it. I won't go into it because I'm actually not an expert on it, but
sure,
they say that you shouldn't really go to the cold after doing the heat. But for me at my age, it's the longevity and it's the recovery side of it, right? I'm not really looking for gains. I'm leaning out and just trying to get faster and have the endurance side of me.
Catlin's a really big dude. Are you trying to come in a little heavier to kind of match that, or do you feel like the speed and being able to move around, so you want to come in a little thinner, or you don't want to say?
Well, no, I'm open. Like, I'm cutting because end of the day, speed kills, right? Speed's where it's at on the ice, quicker movements, explosive movements. Like, that's my goal. I'm trying to not lose power. So like we're really kind of mixing it up with a cut, but not losing power. So it's not a big cut, but like if I weighed in today, I'd probably weigh in around 260. So there's a bit
What's your usual walk around weight?
Well, I kind of let things go for a while, but when I found out I was getting back in, I was actually 298 when I started training again. So I've dropped to that. I mean, ideally, I'm probably going to shoot to try to drop for 245, 50. That would be a great weight to fight at for me. I mean, and I'll go back to Amesbury. Like, Amesbury won that tournament because he was the fastest guy on the skates. He could get the punches off quick. He had great stamina, right? So it boils down to when you look at these big heavyweight fights in the NHL too, like it's not necessarily the biggest guy that's winning. It's the fastest guy that's got the power behind him. So
growing up, who is your favorite enforcer? I mean, you can name more than one, but who is your favorite hockey fighter growing up?
Well, Bob Probert's always going to be one of my favorite. He could do it all, right? So,
yeah.
But then, I have mad respect. Like, the list goes on. Like, Darren Langdon is good. He was a little guy, most underrated fighter out there. We try to model stuff after him. Domi, like you can't pass that on Domi, and even like Aaron for me, he's a staple in my training. He's a staple to everything I do, and also the guys he fought, like he fought LaRock, he fought Brashear, he fought all the big guys. He fought Probert, so and he's probably one of my favorite idols as well when it comes down to it.
How valuable is it? You said you trained with 3 pros, like having those pro guys in your corner and kind of telling you what to do and coaching you and coaching you with the fighting and the conditioning and the training. How valuable is that?
So, yeah, like they're actually like, so we're us training together as units, like just everybody's pushing each other. Like we have Brett Ritchie, he's training. So he's a former Calgary Flame, Dallas Stars. He's actually he played in overseas last year. He's trying to get back into the show, and I think he could. Some teams got to take a chance on him because they're missing a great player. But he's training to go backward to Germany right now. And then Zach Trott's out there, and he's playing for Kansas City. And then we had Logan Sawyer is a 3rd-round draft pick to Montreal, and he's down in Boston right now. He's going to finish out his schooling. But it's just all of us coming together. Like we all have our certain aspects of what pushes. Like I'm inspiring them to be at my age and still doing this and pushing through. And they're that youth that kind of gives me the challenge to push better to keep up with them in a sense. So like it all just intertwines. It's like being on a team. It's like being in the locker room. One guy's lifting the other guy's picking the guy up if he needs it, or offering support. It's pretty good.
Again, you've been around with the Ice Wars for quite a while. What's it going to take? I feel like it's starting to take off, but what's it going to take to be that next thing that kind of gets it over the hump or kind of propels it a little more? Is it going to take just like a crazy, like a crazy night of all knockout type of thing? Or is it like a super bloody fight? Like, what do you think it's going to take?
I think it's just building the following still. Like, I think like you got people watching people slap people, and that's got millions of views. And there's these phone booth fights. Like, I think it's just a matter of guys realizing that it's not hockey, but they like the fighting side of it. They want to see a different sort of combat sport. I think it's just literally keep pumping the tires on it, getting the advertising out there, and eventually it's something that's really going to grab. Or I don't know, maybe if Charlie can lock up a ex pro that has a big following and a big name, maybe something like that really flies. But I think at this point, it's just it was huge for BKFC to come and get behind us. Like that's I at one point I thought maybe it was going to be dead in the water if Charlie didn't find somebody, and he went out there, he busted his ass off, he got Dave to get in on it, and here we are. And I do think it's going to grow, and I think now that like I see guys chirping online, oh, it's not bare knuckle. What they need to realize is, yeah, maybe it's not bare knuckle yet, but we're a product of bare knuckle, and like that's the difference of who's educated and who's not, I guess, because they're not looking at the BKFC as just the umbrella of what we are. And now, hey, next fight will be bare knuckle, so I guess some of those guys can eat their words.
It's one of those things that's absolutely frustrating because, like, I mean, we have thousands of members on the Reddit, and some of those guys are like, "Oh, it says bare knuckle, but it's not." And it's like, well, it's also hockey, you know what I mean? And now that it is going to be bare knuckle, and then it was always like, well, but it's not on ice, and now it's going to be on ice. So like all those people that hopefully were talking crap and not very happy with it are going to tune in to this upcoming fight because it's going to be everything that they were wanting.
Yeah, and everything takes steps, right? Everything's building blocks. So to take it from what it was originally at the very first event, and even the organization of it getting behind it and getting quality fighters is starting to be a better thing too. So it's really grown from where it started 4 years ago.
Were you much of a fan of the BKFC prior to Ice Wars joining on? And then my second part is we've talked to some of the guys and they're like, oh, the goal is to eventually fight for bare knuckle. Is that something that's on your bucket list?
So I always watched a bit of BKFC, a bit of MMA. Like I don't really, I live a busy schedule with kids. Like we're 90% of the time, if we're not at the rink for the lacrosse, we're at the rink for hockey. If we're not there for hockey, we're out for some other event that has to do with some sort of sport, be it baseball. So we're very active. I actually have 4 kids, so it's a busy schedule. So I don't watch that much TV, but I do try to sit down and watch it. I find it entertaining. The big question I wouldn't be opposed to doing a bare knuckle fight. I've been in, like, again, it would take the proper training. I'm not saying I could go out tomorrow and do it, but I wouldn't be opposed to doing one crossover fight or something, right? Even if it was a charity thing or however it turned out to be, like if it was a publicity stint to kind of grow more followers by crossing over. Like these guys, I give mad respect to these guys that are crossing over and trying it out on skates, because that's a completely different animal. You could be the best fighter ever. You could be Connor, put skates on him. I don't know if he's gonna do so well, right?
Right. No, I feel like the crossover is going to be huge, and that's what I can't wait. Like I said, I've talked to some of these guys. I can't say who, but I know someone's probably going to be doing one next year, and I'm really excited to see how they do. Being able to say you're the 2-sport athlete and fighting for both, I think it's going to be huge.
Yeah. I think, like I said, like anything in the girl, like I think the traction's there, and I think there is guys that are playing hockey and doing these other sports that we just haven't heard of yet, right? Or they haven't seen us yet, or seen it.
It still blows my mind when someone's like, "Oh, I just found out about bare knuckle and it's so great." And like, I want to say like this upcoming one that's going to be in New Jersey with Mike Perry. We're going to get, like, we always get a huge influx of new fans when that goes on. And it's always like, oh, I didn't know it before, but then I saw, that Mike Perry was fighting and suddenly they're drawn to it. So like I said, I'm excited to see when it's like, oh, I'd never seen Ice Wars before, but I watched it on the BKFC app and now I love Ice Wars. And that's going to be just keep driving the fan base.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Once we get, like, I know guys will complain about the advertising and wanting the fight card, and I think that stuff will get better. And once it starts to get better, that'll also help grow the sport too, because it's getting out there more. People are seeing it more. And then, maybe they're recognizing a name. So then they create a following for it. So
That, and I feel like going live. I was told this next one's going to be live, so people will be able to watch it live. It's crazy because the first one, the one in Michigan, like there was a lot of people watching it. I was on the YouTube watching it. It was fantastic. There was a lot of people chatting. The second one, your guys' Edmonton one, like took a bit longer to get there because there were some technical issues and it didn't have nearly the following. But the biggest complaint everybody said was, I want to watch it live. I don't want to already know like 2 weeks before, like who won, And so being able to watch this live is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, and that was tough for us because I think there was a couple mixed messages that went out. Some of us were able to put that we won, and then we found out no, we weren't supposed to. So we had stuff up, then we were taking stuff off, and then we thought that at one point that they maybe weren't even going to do a broadcast on it, and then they did get a broadcast. So, like I said, those are the growing pains of it, and I think Charlie and Dave have guys that are really working behind the scenes now to make things that much better, and that'll definitely come with the more shows we get on and the progression of it.
Okay, the last question I always ask people the first time they're on my show, do you remember the first time you got in a street fight, the first time you punched them out of anger, not a relative? Like, can you tell us about do you remember your first fight?
That was probably
I know you've been in a million, but yeah, like, do you remember your first grade school fight?
Yeah, a little bit of schoolyard fight, probably fighting over a girl. Her name was probably Jenny Taylor, probably. So
You've just always been a fighter.
Yeah, like not by choice. I don't know. It wasn't really by choice. It just kind of happened. But I had a rough brother, like I said. So.
Well, that's why I had to put the stipulation not a family member, because I assume your first fight was against your brother.
Yeah, it was definitely.
Definitely. Okay, do you have any message for the fans? Any shout outs? Anything you'd like to get out there before we call it a night?
I'll shout out to like Charlie for sure for believing in me. He's bringing me in, and Kevin and Ian, all those guys behind the scenes making things happen. Shout out to even you guys for pumping the tires here to try and get us out there to the world. That's awesome stuff. And like most of all, the guys have been training me, like Aaron for sure, Brett, my buddy Zach, and Logan, and my wife, my kids. Those are all the important people.
All right, man. Well, I look forward to watching this fight. There's talks of me trying to get there, but we'll see if it happens. I wish I would have known you were in Michigan. I would have loved to have met you, but I'm excited to see it happen, and I can't wait to have you on the show again.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you bringing me on. That was great.
All right, man. Have a good night. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks.